Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here tonight with the third and final question mark session of an exciting campaign trilogy that is set in Baron's homebrew world of the Ardlands, which has been absolutely amazing so far. I love this setting, and I like the group of people that I get to play this with. So I'm going to pass things back over to Baron here in just a second. But before I do, I want to give the same warning that I do before all of the games that are here on this channel, and that is if foul language and mature subject matter are a problem for you, then this is not a place where you should spend much time. So yeah, that being said, like I said, I'm going to pass things over to Baron so that he can take us into the game. So Baron, take it away.
You're muted, buddy.
You're muted.
Hell yeah. Anyway,
Par for
good
the
evening,
course.
everyone. I'm Baron. I mute myself and don't unmute. You may recognize me from around the channel. Either way, I have had the absolute pleasure of getting to work with Jeremy on a project of mine, and he has expertly pointed me in the right direction. And alongside our spectacular group of friends here, we were able to put together Drift, the Ards song. Before we go any further, I will say trigger warning, intense and graphic descriptions here in the beginning. I cannot stress that enough. If you are uncomfortable with grotesque, disturbing, or otherwise uncomfortable scenes, come back in 20 minutes. We'll be done. I've got the go ahead for my players. We're all good to go. So it's not something that I'm just going to throw at them and hope it sticks. So, bear with me. But given that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Jason to carry on in the order we usually do. Karen, Philip, and so on. And let you guys tell us a little bit about yourself. Jason.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you restating the order because I always forget. Anyway, I am Jason Osorio, and I will be playing Svedna Nazif, a warlock, paladin, tiefling, who has had a very difficult time over the last several years. And it seems like the difficult times are going to keep on coming since we ended the last session with one of our party members' brothers arriving undead and ripping his own head off. Just, yeah, brutal stuff. Very excited to see how it ends. And I'm going to pass it on to the lovely Karen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen, also known as Myth and Gears. Can I say I love this channel. I'm on this channel a lot. Yay, thank you. And if you want to have another channel to watch and you don't know about it, mini trade me because I'm over there on Mondays and every other Tuesdays, and there's a lot of games almost every day. So you should go check that out if you haven't already. I cannot wait for the beginning of this game. Like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be brutal. There's going to be lots of woe and despair, and I am here for it. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Philip.
Hello, thank you, Karen. I'm Philip. I'm playing Kate, a cleric of Zalir, and a traumatized sister. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, I am Jeremy. I have some things going on, sometimes on this channel, sometimes not. Yeah, next month, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be kicking off a trilogy here on the channel. It is a combination of Lord of the Rings and Legend of the Five Rings. I'm very much excited to be getting to that. I'm still kind of learning the system. Hopefully we'll have it down a little bit more before the game starts, but yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the actual running of that game. Tonight I'm going to be stepping back into the boots of Alasdair Mackenzie. He is a cleric of Anek, the god of death, Circle of Death cleric. It's been a lot of fun to play, both as a character and also mechanically, kind of what he's capable of. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into this. I'm very excited that Baron came to me to help put this together as a production. So thank you, Baron. Back to you.
All right, well, without further ado, we will get started. It's the 11th moon, the 827th year, the light of the Iron Ring. May the Creator's benevolence shine down upon us all. Clambering around in the dark and in the snow, we see events of the past. Dort, the halfling with greasy black hair and beady eyes, he scratches at taut skin across a burn on his face. With that hand, we see heavily chewed fingernails. He carries a lantern of tarnished silver, almost dusty with oxidation. It bears a sickly green light, pale and terrible. From behind him, the echoes and moans of the dead that have awoken. Dort runs, his short and nimble legs deftly avoiding every obstacle, every pitfall. He is outfitted in black tunic and leather dyed red. On his breast, the lantern sigil. He emerges from the clearing beside a fence on the border of drift. A loose plank shifts, and Dort is able to squeeze inside, stowing his baleful lantern in a case of black leather. The moans are closer now, and not far away from that, the din of battle. He manages to circumvent the center of town, the bell tower looming above him, high over the southern end. 2 knights are illuminated at the top by the lanterns they carry. It won't be long now, he thinks to himself. We can see one of the guards kind of shielding his eyes from the lantern and peering into the darkness. His expression kind of exaggerates into that of surprise, and he grabs the bell rope. Ding, 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 ding. Men and women begin to kind of scuttle from whatever locations they were outside, crossing the center of town like insects revealed by the light. Dort looks at them. He spits, sickened. He looks on from his shadowed alcove at a small hovel where he knows a child sleeps, where Rodri would be now, presumably inside. She would be snatching the child right out of her bed and making off into the night with her. And hopefully this one is more obedient than the last. He spits again. We shift. Rodri swaddles the child in a thick wool blanket. She coos kind of softly. Rodri, her thick plaited braid of auburn hair falls from her shoulder and kind of thuds onto the wool blanket that she holds in her arms. Rodri, a dwarf woman with copper skin, delicately pulls the blanket closer to shield the child's face from the wind. A chain pulls taut around her neck, and she kind of pulls it loose and frees it from the cloth that she holds close to her chest with the babe within. Inside that same sigil of a lantern, this time emblazoned on a silver pendant. Rodri moves swiftly from the edge of town out into the darkness, away from the fighting, but into the forest. She sweeps wide, knowing that the shambling thralls of Dort's lantern had a tendency to wander, sometimes further than expected. It would be no surprise when she came across half a dozen, clambering their way up a steep but icy slope to the west of her. She watches them with kind of a morbid curiosity, and the bone-chilling wave of terror that sweeps over her spine as the frozen stumps of what were fingers grab at her ankle. It is the animated remains of a young man or an older child, hard to say. The poor body having been ripped in half sometime between now and its untimely death. It scared her more than anything, and with a burst of flame, she cremates the remains of the rest of this body. Maybe a bit overkill, but spurred on by the chill, she shakes herself, covers the baby. We now see the mouth of the cave leading down into the mine. It's dark, but Rodri has no problem seeing in these conditions. She continues on unfazed. The baby begins to fuss here and there. as the kind of stuffy air and long journey of the night begin to wear on everyone's patience. There is a way into the temple from the mine, a little secret from the old days. A little secret that that cruel woman in the manor knows nothing about. A way for those who understand the magnitude of what lays beneath, what might happen to those who are not, or what should happen should the ritual not come to pass. The lady would learn in time. They all will. The fools. A fissure in the back of a storage wall that began as a small crack, but over time eroded into a, albeit tight squeeze, enters into the back of this temple. We see Rodri kind of like squeezing in through the bricks. The guards that are left here will have no reason to come back and check this storeroom. I'll be free to complete Volcona's instructions. Rodri lays the babe at the altar. We only see the shadows dancing on the wall as Rodri performs the ritual. What passes in minutes for us seems more like hours for her. The sacred and precise movements. She anoints the child in the sacred oils. Lights flicker, and we can see something else within the room, large and unknowable. A shifting figure like smoke that coils at the top of the chamber like a serpent. We see Rodri take the dagger, and in a sharp motion, she plunges the weapon into her own stomach. Pulling it free, we see the silhouette of a horrific deed. Rodri completes the swipe at the child, and we hear it begin crying loudly. The flames extinguish, the wounds on both of them glow hot, and then seal closed. The crying stops and is replaced with those soft coos once more. The entity is no longer above them. It is gone. Flame dances in the braziers once more, but as we kind of zoom in on the child, we see a fire dancing within the beautiful sapphire eyes. We shift, and those sapphire eyes become frozen and mottled, speckled with blood. The frozen face of Ewan, captivating a terrible scream of pain, forever smeared across his face. The congealed blood in his hair a bloody handle. The head tumbles to the ground and lands with a thud. It rolls to one side, and it lands with its bloodshot eyes laying rest upon all of you. You are within the narrow valley that kind of corridors and leads to the temple face, the Petra-like structure that is the temple face in the mountain. Sheer walls with an absence of any kind of handhold lines either side of you. They extend up probably 40 feet. The now headless horseman atop his phantom destrier seemed to be acknowledging you all, its horse rearing to face you. It wields a wicked black sword in his right hand, the steely gray armor looking almost black. A handful of guards that accompany you array themselves to fight alongside you. The captain calls, "We will maintain your flanks, but whatever that thing is with no head, I think that it is here for all of you. Men, by the light of Zalir and the might of Azael, we fight this day. We defend this day, for a red day it is. May the brave heart guide your swords, and may the last light of Omniel take us gently into the quiet night." And as the sun begins to rise, they charge. We already have initiative, so we're going to go ahead and start the combat. Svedna, these soldiers ride out from beside you. What would you like to do?
So I have a question first. So during her time sort of in the Rotwood as it became increasingly tainted, would she have encountered anything like this before? Any kind of like a more powerful headless creature? Is that something she would potentially be familiar with?
Let's say this is a roll.
Yeah, of course.
Some kind. I just don't know which one.
I could do, although I'm not great at it, I could do history would probably make sense, or
I feel like
maybe-
survival is a little bit more akin
Okay.
to what it would be.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. That is a 14, 13 plus 1.
The corruptive nature of the Headless One has been known to produce undead of rare but exceeding quality. It's not like there's a catalog of these creatures, but you'd be under the impression that this is one particularly imbued with malice or hatred for the power of the Headless One to conduit so fiercely.
Okay, so like no specific information about like this particular manifestation, like she wouldn't have encountered one of
No.
these particular things before. Okay.
Unfortunately, with as brief a time as it's been since the events of these like situations have been happening, there's not like anyone cataloging or recording, and if there was, they're probably dead.
Okay, totally fine. Yeah, so I think maybe for the first time, the others would see like Svedna is visibly sweating, but her eyes are completely on this headless mounted warrior, and no hesitation this time. And roughly how far is it from us right now, Baron?
He is about 60 feet away.
Okay, yeah. Left hand snaps up, and these two kind of crystalline growths kind of emerge from this swirl of similar growths on her palm. They clash together twice, and I think it almost sounds like tearing metal as these two lances of crimson energy, threaded with these strange strands of indigo power, streak towards this thing. So she will cast her indigo blast, which is 2 blasts at this level. So let me roll this. First one is an 11. Oof. The second one is a natural 1 for 7. Horrible.
Both miss.
Yeah, I think she is. I think she actually starts to visibly shake, but she grits her teeth, forces herself to stop trembling. And then as a bonus action, remind me again. I'm sorry. What did you say the distance was, Baron?
About 60 feet.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to get closer. Yep. She will, kind of swallowing, she will rush forward, still that left palm extended, her flaming sword down at her right, kind of right side, and she will shoot some crystalline shards at this creature. They don't seem to do any damage. They almost like embed into the destrier and then swarm up onto the rider as she will cast her embedded shards or Hexblade's curse on this individual, and that will be the end of her turn.
As your indigo blast lance towards the creature, they almost ripple along an unseen force. And as they kind of like funnel themselves away from the creature in a way that he protects himself, you are kind of racked with instantaneous like visions of a place you have never been. Underground, it's like a large cavern complex with a crystalline structure at the center. Familiar in appearance and maybe like familiar vibe check, if you will. But you can tell that there's like a black, viscous, almost web-like structure growing alongside it. And instinctually, you can tell it's corruptive.
What color is the crystal, out of curiosity, as this vision kind of washes through her mind?
This crystal is green.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, she'll definitely kind of make note of that. But again, I think she kind of grits her teeth and focuses on the moment as best she can. And that will be the end of her turn.
All right, Kate. I didn't. The cavern, or not the cavern, the channel you're in is about 50 feet wide. The destrier is about 60 feet away from you. The canyon walls on either side are about 40 feet up. And I didn't expressly say this, I should have. There are zombies kind of like flanking this headless horseman, but for the sake of like awareness, it really seems like the knights and the zombies are doing battle, and you all are to fight this headless creature. Just, if it was a video game, that's what it would seem like. You know what I mean? But Kate, your companions charge the zombie line, Svedna launching 2 indigo blasts from her hand. What would you like to do?
I am going to call upon the light of Zalir, stomaching some vomit that comes up into my mouth and just swallowing it back after witnessing my brother tear, or what I thought was my brother tear his head off, knowing fully well the creature that remains has been completely infected with the blight of undead, and knowing that it must be me to take out this creature. I will call upon the light of Zalir and focus a guiding bolt right at him. But I am just staggered, unable to even really target him, I think, still thinking he's my brother. Nat one. For a 7 total.
With a nat 1, you can't help but look at the head. Like, just as the bolt is about to leave your hand, instead of looking where you would be casting, your eyes shift at the last moment to the head laying on the ground beside y'all, causing you to lose aim.
And stumbling forward almost, I will go with the movement of the troops and advance 30 feet.
Okay.
That's it.
The headless figure is going to use a legendary action. And he's going to move up to his speed and move his speed without provoking opportunity attacks and make 1 attack with advantage. Oh, I should have rolled that one first. It's this one. 22 to hit.
Certainly.
21
Who's-
points of damage.
How many points of damage?
21.
Fucking hell.
Who was the target of this?
Catherine.
Oh, okay. Nice knowing you, Kate.
Yeah, that's tough.
The figure charges at the same pace that you do, meeting you 30 feet in the center and swipes with this crude sword. And does 21 points of damage. That was a really high roll, so.
The dark black aura that just almost takes over this vision, almost snuffing out the light, reminding me of my blindness, as Zalir is dramatically trying to oppose this force through me.
Leita. It's your turn.
Seeing that he has closed the gap and is right on Catherine right now, I am going to I'm not going to get close. I'm just going to kind of stay where I am at the moment, and I am going to fling one of those vaporous daggers at him as I fling one of them. Oh, please hit. 18.
18 will hit.
Oh, ooh. Okay, so that will be, oh, that's 1, so 5 plus 5 plus 11 is 16 points of psychic damage. And then as a bonus action, I am going to fling another one with my other hand. Where are you? There you are. Oh, that is a 23 to hit,
That'll hit.
doing another 8 points of psychic damage. And then I am going to move.
See, no one bats an eye when I get hit with 20 points of damage. I hit y'all with it. You're all like, it's like I get hit with it. It's like, yeah, fuck
We're
you.
like, yeah.
Fuck you. Like, damn.
Then I'm gonna move off to the side into the trees. Oh, kind of away from the channel a little bit into the trees. I've already used my bonus action, so I'm not hiding, but I am over there at this moment, so that we're not all bunched up together.
All right. That brings us to Ewan's turn. I almost picture like you two are locked in like a combat now, you know, shield parries and thrusts and like hitting his sword to the side. He is going to attack. 27 to hit. Can you guys see my rolls in the game log?
I don't think so.
No, we cannot. It could be because I don't think you have a character in the campaign, so I don't think
It's
we're allowed
probably
to
a
see
setting,
those.
if I had to guess.
Probably.
Just curious. It's probably for the best. 27 to hit, so I just rolled a 19. So you didn't quite get crit, but he doesn't do nearly as much damage without the charge. 6 damage on that hit.
As he finds another weak spot in my defenses, I try to parry a blow and pushes it right into this black sword right into my stomach. God damn left flank.
You hear Svedna, get that damn shield up!
Change your left fucking flank!
The Ewan kind of like, I would say he has pivoted so that he is now behind you. Well, I mean, you probably kept him in front of you, but he is trying to separate you from your group. So that brings us to Alistair.
So Alistair, I think, had to somewhat kind of move out of the way to make himself not in the path of this horse that came charging through. And as he does so, he sees him take this powerful swing down at Kate and hit her hard. And he instantaneously kind of like reaches out with one hand. And again, we see a familiar figure of this torn soldier climb up out of the ground, missing one arm and shoulder from the left side, brandishing this this kind of rusted, broken blade that's all like visceral, not visceral. It's all transparent and ghostly. As I cast Spiritual Weapon, and can I put it in such a way that it's beside his horse and it can strike it? Is there room to do that?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to do that as my bonus action. And it attacks with my wisdom modifier, I think. Yeah. 8, 13.
13 will not hit.
Okay. So this ghostly figure swings at the horse, trying to cut it, and he manages to shift it out of the way. But as he does so, I also reach down with my shield holding hand and like place it just above my belly button on my stomach, where I remember the days of hunger that I had to survive through during the length of the war, when I would have to go for long periods of time without actual food to eat. And then remembering also all of the soldiers that I served with suffering worse, some of them even dying from malnutrition and hunger, and what that did to them. And as I am kind of conjuring this and building all of that onto one another, I kind of bring my hand up until it's finally touching my temple where my eyes are closed, and then I'll extend my finger towards this headless figure, and I'm going to cast Ray of Enfeeblement on him.
Okay.
So he needs to make a strength... no, I'm sorry. A Constitution saving throw. DC is 16.
You rolled a 10.
Fuck yes. A black beam of energy shoots from my hand, strikes him. He is only going to be able to deal half damage with weapon attacks that use strength.
Okay.
Until the spell ends. He can
Is
repeat
that
at the end of his save. At the end of his turn, rather. Sorry. What's that?
No, that was the question.
Okay, cool.
You need that.
Yeah. I figured that would be helpful. We'll find out.
Is there anything else you'd like to do?
If there's like, you said it's kind of like a narrow canyon.
Yep.
I'd like to find like a larger rock or something that I can kind of put on the opposite side of me from my shield, and just kind of stack up next to it, so that way something can't as easily get to me from that side.
Light Tongue has kind of, I would say that there are some trees like that kind of line this canyon, like on the level that you are. So there's probably some large stones that have kind of crumbled off the side as well. So yeah, I would say you're able to find something to shelter against. If there's nothing else, the clash of shields on gnashing teeth and broken bones. The captain calls formations. There's like loose failings. You see them like coming together, like holding off, like buffeting the charge. You hear like the grotesque, just like the sheer force of these blows, and like the brittle, cold finger bones just snapping under the weight of these strikes into the mail and shields. The knights swinging their swords and just like getting stuck in frozen meat and cold bone, and like trying to wrench it free only to be smothered by zombies taking advantage. They're locked in the pitch of battle. You actually can even hear from like up on the like parapets of the temple itself, like the thrum of crossbows being launched as quickly as possible. That brings us back to the top of the round with Svedna.
So I have another question. So I know you said this canyon is about 50 feet wide. Are there any trees within, let's say, 30 feet?
Yes.
Okay. I think sort of as these spells are being cast, this ghostly warrior is conjured by Alistair. Svedna's eyes are kind of flicking between the enemy and Kate, and I think there's this moment where she can almost hear the screams that Kate let out when she was traveling with Svedna originally 6 years ago, and the owlbear just mauled her across the face. And then I think there's almost this weird like flicker, and she sees herself when she was 25 years old, reaching transfixed for the very blade that she holds in her hand back in an underground tomb beneath the Rotwood. And she blinks, sweat just pouring down her face. She looks to you, Kate, and just says, "Don't worry, I won't let you die." And then she is going to disappear in a puff of red smoke. She's going to misty step over to this tree that's within 30 feet. So this is what I kind of want to do, Baron. I don't know if this is possible, if it would be better to maybe do it with rocks. I don't know. She wants to try to like knock the tree over potentially onto this thing, or maybe start an avalanche to kind of hit this thing. Is any of that feasible or possible? Kind of given her rough location, kind of the situation in the canyon.
I don't see why not. I just said that some rocks had tumbled off the side
Yeah,
of the
sure.
wall.
Sure, that makes
Get
more
jamming
sense than
cover.
the
There's
30-foot tall tree.
I mean, I'm not opposed to you in a fit of rage cutting through a tree. That's cool. I like
Okay,
that.
cool. I'll do it.
You tell
Okay.
me, bro.
Yeah, I think
And then we'll roll for it.
since she already has Greshka kind of lit up, I think she will swing this elvish blade that has caused her so much pain and suffering. And she's going to try to cut through some kind of tree to hopefully collapse it on top of this this Doulahan, this headless horseman. So let me know what I need to
Let's
roll.
make an attack roll.
Okay.
And I think if you can do 27 damage
In
You
one
have
hit?
cut
Mm,
in
I don't
one
know about
hit.
that.
You
Okay.
got divine smites.
I don't have divine smites. I'm only level 1
Oh,
paladin.
you're level
Yeah.
1? Okay,
I'm
okay,
a baby
Hold
paladin.
on. We'll
Yeah.
go
Well, so here,
20
so
damage. 20 damage. You can do
okay.
20 damage.
All right, I'll try it. We're gonna try it. Okay. All right. So that's definitely gonna hit. It's a 25 to hit. Oh, wow, that was my
100%.
excellent hit roll there. Okay. So what did you say it was 20?
20 damage.
20 damage. All right. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that one
I don't know.
attack, but
I
I'm
don't know
gonna
what
try.
your average damage is. I'm just kind of spitballing.
Okay,
it now. I thought
so
you
hang
had
on.
divine smites,
You're good.
so.
I do not. All right, so that's 8 magical slashing for just the blade itself, and then there's also a great book. If you ever are looking for a book to read, The Blade Itself is a great book. Okay, so then that's 12. Oh my god, I was 2 points away. That's 18 points of total damage. The tree's on fire, I guess, if that helps. As she just swings the sword into this
add
tree
your
trunk.
charisma modifier as well. If you add your charisma modifier, that'll do it, right? Or is that already
Yes.
included?
No, you're right. No, it's not included. That's 18 plus 3 would be 21, which would get me just over.
There we go. You cut the tree.
Nice. And yeah, I think as soon as she gets the sense like it's about to fall, she's just going to slam her just scarred, muscle-bound bulk against this tree and try to have it fall on top of this thing. So yeah, I don't know what kind of damage that would be, what that would look like.
I'm
you
gonna
tell
roll
me,
a
DM.
dexterity save. We're gonna say what? DC 15?
Yeah, I think a 14 sounds fair for level.
All right.
level
Well,
5.
I rolled a natural 20 on that one. So.
Oh, bitch!
I'll take half damage. I'll say this is like 66.
Okay. Oh, do you want me? Oh, go ahead.
Please roll it. Yes.
Okay.
Your attack, your damage. We'll allow it.
So kind, so generous. Okay, let's see. Ooh, a lot of ones there. All right, so that's 15. Halved would be 7, I assume.
7 points damage. Kate, roll a dexterity saving throw with advantage.
DC 14. You got this.
All right. This log kind of separates the two of you now.
Then Svedna will actually move. She'll fly 30 feet back because she literally just misty stepped to get over here. So she's just going to fly right back so that she's standing with Kate against this thing, kind of muttering and cursing under her breath that the tree didn't do more. But you know what? She's trying. She's trying to think of creative ways to do this to get its attention on her and off of Kate, if at all possible. And if hitting it with the tree isn't enough, maybe hitting it with an avalanche will be, but that will be the end of her turn.
All right. That brings us to Kate. You stay on shoulder to shoulder with Svedna now.
Yeah, and I think after seeing my friend basically hack a tree down to try and protect me, light is erupting in front of me, and I will go ahead and try to turn undead. Wisdom saving throw DC 14.
Roll a 17.
Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, what was that?
He rolled a 17.
Ah, well, all undead within 30 feet. But if the creature fails to save, it's frightened. Nothing happens if he succeeds. And then I will, as a bonus action, cast spiritual weapon to try to my bonus action for healing isn't great, or it's too good. I can't use it right now. I gotta wait. So I'm gonna use spiritual weapon as my bonus action instead and attack him as I summon my weapon right upon him and hit him from a distance with melee. 14.
14 will not hit.
Zalir has abandoned me.
Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No. I'm
I
out.
need-
I'm out of actions.
I need everybody that can see me to roll a wisdom saving throw DC 15 as I use my frightful presence with an area action. If you're
8.
immune to frighten, it doesn't apply to you.
Nat 20.
I'm sorry, make a what save?
Wisdom save.
Wisdom save.
I was so sad because I rolled an 8, but then I realized that I have a +8 in my wisdom, so that's a 16.
Hey!
God damn.
So sad
What?
because mine was teetering on the 20 and then it went 2.
Yep.
So that's a 3 on my wisdom save.
All right, so 2 succeeds, 2 fails. Svedna and Lietongue, you are frightened until the end of Ewen's next turn, which is after Lietongue's turn. So, Lietongue, your turn. Actually, hold on. I want to do a bit of a description for that because I feel like there is like a phantom, like ghostly skull made of fire and maybe like blood, kind of like congealing above the stump of his head where it should be at least, and it just kind of like screams, kind of like flecks of molten blood, kind of flicking upon the two of you, Kate and Svedna. Kate just kind of steadfast, and Svedna like, oh, this is fucked. Lighttime.
So with the tree crashing between the two of them, there's nobody directly upon.
I would say
Ewen,
technically
right?
no.
Okay, so that means I am going to actually, from my vantage in the trees there, I'm going to shoot magma from my hands. I'm doing firebolt.
Liquid
Magma.
hot magma.
Magma. So I'm at disadvantage of this because I am frightened of the guy I'm shooting magma towards. Disadvantage and roll. Be good rolls. Well, not too bad. 16 is my lowest.
16 will hit.
Perfect. So he is going to take 9 points of fire damage. And then, as my bonus action, I am going to hide in these trees. Am I at disadvantage at this too? You have a
Technically,
disadvantage in
yeah.
ability scores. Okay, so disadvantage. Roll. That's a nat 1, so that's 11. I know that's probably going to fail, so I'm going to use my ability. What's it called? It is features and traits. I have this ability. I have psychic powers. And I'm going to use one of them to add a d6 to this roll as I try to overcome my fear and hide better. So that'll add a 5. So it'll be a 16.
Okay. Owen is going to use his other legendary action just to do a single strike. As he got, actually no, he can't because the tree's in the way and he wouldn't be close enough, and I can't move. Fine. It's his turn anyway. The Death Spear kind of like turns and gains some distance and leaps this tree. And he's going to make 2 attacks against you, Svedna. First one's a 23.
That'll hit.
Second's a dirty 20.
That'll hit.
7 damage,
He does half damage with anything that's strength based.
Oh yeah,
which both of these are. So 7
Okay.
damage and 8 damage reduced by half would be,
would be 7.
damage.
Okay, roger that.
He does get to repeat his save at the end of his turn.
That's true.
And then
There's
real
like-
quick, I'm sorry,
go
real
ahead.
quick, Baron. Does the fear end at the end of this turn for him, for
Yeah,
us, or okay,
Yep,
okay,
Yep.
thank you.
So, like, as this rider jumps over the log and he strikes down at you with 2 of these just brutal black sword blows, this like rippling green energy kind of like courses through his arm as he swings, and it's almost like he's trying to swing through water. Like the force is there, but the magic is binding him. And he gets to repeat his save. What was it? A
Constitution,
Constitution save.
DC 16.
He rolled a 16. So as he I would imagine you maybe even like parry the blow, throw it away from you, and as you do, like these, the sickly green light just kind of like off his arm, and he kind of like, you see the strength return in his hand. I think he's kind of like, he's once again trying to like circle you off from like the temple. But I think he's closer to you now, Svedna. Which, if in the grand scheme of things, like this tree kind of fell from like the west side of things. You guys are facing south, west across towards the east. We got Lie-Tongue over here on the eastern side of the canyon, and you guys are kind of primarily positioned on the west, presumably. That ends his turn, Alistair.
So I'm on the same side of where the tree fell to Kate.
Yes.
Okay. Am I within 30 feet of her?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to cross the battlefield to where she is and reach out and place my hand on her shoulder. And I am going to cast Cure Wounds on her. You're pretty banged up, yeah? Yeah. I'm going to pop my last 3rd level spell slot then. So that is 3d8 plus 5. Let's see. 14 points.
Fuck.
Yeah, not great.
What does your aura look like to Kate?
I think in that moment, she actually might see a much younger man than Alistair actually looks currently. His clothes are in a lot better shape, and he is kind of radiating a kind of series of like pinks and oranges, almost like a sunset kind of hue.
Kate will look at you directly, eye contact, which is a little unnerving. Thank you, Alistair. And thank you.
Anak has not called you home yet. On your feet, let's go. There's more work to be done. And then he's gonna also have his spiritual weapon attack if he can move to the horseman again within 30 feet.
Yeah, the horseman has moved far enough away from your way.
Okay. Hell yeah. It's a 24 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right, it is force damage, if that makes a difference.
It does.
There's a bonus to that. It is... yeah, hell yeah. 11 points of force damage. As this sword wielding kind of like specter of a wounded soldier like lashes out and slices kind of right above where the hip of his armor meets his breastplate.
The ghosted blade sinking into desiccated flesh. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No, I don't think I have anything bonus action wise, so yeah, that's it.
I could have used a ranged attack to attack you with my legendary action, and I realize that now. It's fine. The knights and zombies are still locked in kind of pitched combat. The back and forth that 6 seconds can contain. The tree had kind of like blocked the like retreat of some of these knights, kind of like cutting them off, and like beyond further where this had fell, yeah, kind of like this guy like bumps into it, and then he's like grabbed by the breastplate and like ripped off and kind of like pulled into the crowd. You hear Carlos now, and then a soldier kind of like just runs into the mob swinging. He is enveloped. But on the other side, it kind of is also done the same for the zombies, who kind of like surge and pulse with strength. These knights have effectively like cleared one side of the battlefield because it has sectioned off some of them, and this kind of phalanx is able to push them into the tree and impale them. You see that they are like beginning to mount an attack over the tree. They are kind of like shifting almost like a roly-poly over top of this fallen trunk, and like you see them actually get to where the body of one of these guys that was pulled in is. They like recover him and pull him into the shield shell, but just in the brief glimpse that our camera would see, like he's mangled and dead. The knight Ewan is going to use his legendary action for his frightful presence again. I need everyone to make wisdom saving throws.
What was the DC again?
16.
Oh boy.
There's not the secondary thing that says if you pass it within 24 hours you're good. Just as
if that's within the frightened condition, it does. Under the ability,
some creatures. Okay, some creatures have that as a
I know, like
some of them
Harpy
do
and
and some
stuff
of them
do,
don't.
but this one is since it's just until the end of my next turn.
Okay.
Spend passed. Kate passed.
I got a 28. I'm rolling at 20.
Okay, so 3 pass, 1 fail. I think there's actually like a moment where he reaches down to one of these knights' corpses, and with a swift stroke of his blade, cleanly cuts the head off and places atop his own head for this instance of frightful gaze. It almost like loosely attaches with congealed frozen blood, and it before rolling off to the side. Brings us to the top with Svedna.
Yeah, I think seeing that horrifying sight, Svedna again just launches herself with her wings. I think she's almost trying to like collide with this mounted individual, with Owen, and she swings her sword towards him. Hopefully I can actually hit. Let's see. That is a natural 20.
Hey.
So 2 questions. First is how are we doing crits? Is it just double dice or and then modifier?
For the sake of brevity, let's do max and then roll.
Okay, so max for the sword is going to be, I'm going to write this down because I will forget, 10 magical slashing
And then
and
max for the fire, and
right,
then
which is
you'd roll
12.
them both and add that.
Got it. And I'm also going to be adding +3 for the Hexblade's Curse. So we're up to 15 right now, and I will start rolling. Oof, that's not great. All right, so that's 5, and then the fire. Okay. That is a grand total of 14 plus 12 plus 10 for 36 points of damage total.
I can't do 20. My fucking ass.
My fucking ass.
I'm just sitting here looking at the stat block. I'm like, man, they haven't even done me halfway, and it was just like, boop, there it is.
Yeah, I think as Svenna kind of slams into this suit of armor, which probably hurts like a bitch, she kind of grunts in pain and then just slams the blade maybe like right into the breastplate, finding some kind of like gap in the armor, and just crimson fire and cinder starts to leak out of the armor, almost like blood. As she grinds the blade in, and she looks kind of in the space where the head would be if it had a head, and just said, I hope your master sees this, you fuck. And she's going to continue kind of driving the blade into its torso. I think she's actually going to, if she can, just for flavor, she kind of like stays there, sort of like in the air, driving the blade into this thing's rotting chest. And that's going to be it.
I mean, I almost imagine like your spear-like thrust at the creature as well as your sword stroke were one and the same. Like you slamming your body into the creature was to drive this blade through the chest as far as you could. And kind of like, I mean, in the essence that this is only like a 6-second thing, you know, you're saying that you'd like stay there. I think like this fire damage is you just like erupting from the sword itself and holding it there. So it's just like fire is just like bursting out of this chest from, you know, this winged demon like warrior. Is there anything else you'd like to do? Good, because that was too much.
Don't worry, it'll never happen again.
Well, he's gonna use his last legendary action to attack you.
I would expect nothing less.
He definitely hits dirty 20
Okay, yeah, and shield's not going to help me there.
for a total of 9 damage.
Okay.
As he strikes you, his weapon erupts in that same baleful energy that the lantern had been producing that you've seen previously. You're also going to take 11 points of necrotic damage.
Oh boy.
As you scream to where this head should be, the battle is starting to grade on the magic that is affecting his body. And so like it's starting to fall apart. And as such, these energies are leaking out, and it's kind of like that same enfeeblement energy that was kind of like wrapped around his arm is like that kind of light is escaping from the vessel, and like he's channeling it into his weapon as a last ditch effort to fucking murder you.
Yeah, I think Svedna sags. She looks badly wounded by this counter strike.
Any wound you see that is hit by this almost like shrivels and desiccates as you're cut. Like immediate medical attention required. Kate, it is your turn.
It's really tough to see Svedna get gutted by her brother, or what was her brother, like that. But the light of Zalir is guiding me, and I think what I need to do instead, I'm so sorry, Svedna, but I'm going to cast Dispel Magic on Lightongue, so they are no longer frightened. And when I do that, Lightongue can use a reaction to make a weapon attack against a creature that I see. So Lightongue, you're no longer frightened and can immediately make a weapon attack against this guy.
It can be a ranged weapon attack, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Sweet. Okay, so not to put a wrench into the whole thing. Was I hidden? Because I hit at the
Oh,
end
I
of my
never
turn.
actually checked. Hold on. Yes. You think?
Okay.
No, you are. I didn't
Okay.
see it.
Then
Also, Svedna is in melee with.
That's
so
true.
That helps.
Svedna is like
But-
hugging this creature.
Okay, just
but
wondering.
but I want the advantage. Because that'll help. Yeah, come on, let me roll. 18 to hit.
18 will hit.
6. I might as well use it on this right now. 6 plus. Oh, that's really real low. So 10 points of psychic damage.
Did you sneak attack?
I did. Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah,
Um,
I rolled really low on the damage rolls.
Well, actually, can you even sneak attack on a reaction?
I don't know. It says once per turn. So I'm using this as the per turn.
We're moving past it.
I
It just means I
actually
can't use it on my turn.
I read something about this voice of authority specifically. It was like, oh, hint hint pairs really nicely with rogue because it can allow them to use their sneak attack. So I'm pretty sure it does. Okay, great, awesome. The light of Zalir courses through you and guides your dagger true. Then I will use my bonus action to swing my spirit weapon at it, which is attacking because I've been able to maintain concentration. Please let me hit him. 15. Fuck.
15 doesn't hit.
I cannot.
You need a
This is
16.
Kate's got main character syndrome and wants to like hurt her brother so badly, but the only thing I'm actually able to do is aid others. And Kate's thinking, maybe that's what this is about.
Because deep down, you really don't want to hurt your brother.
Oh, let's
That's
see
what it
here.
is.
Kate's character growth. Nailed it.
Check.
And now it's Light Tongue's turn, and you're not frightened.
Okay, so we will, on my turn now, fling another of these vaporous hot psychic blades. 25 to hit.
25 will hit.
No sneak on this one though, because I already used my sneak, but that is 10 points of psychic damage.
No, it's a new turn.
No.
You used it on my turn,
You know,
right?
we're gonna use it
Anyway,
as it's
okay.
the one turn
Yeah.
blanket.
Okay. Well, that was the point, but okay.
You did 10
That's why I
damage.
did it with her instead of Svedna.
But I had used it on my last turn too, so I mean, I can't, yeah. Okay, so that was 10 points of psychic, and then my bonus action, I'm going to fling another one. If I can find the entry, there it is. That's only a 12 to hit. So
12 will not hit.
that one does not work. I will stay where I'm at. I like being in the tree line. So my turn's over.
That brings us to Ewan. As he kind of like whirls on you both again, he is going to make a weapon attack against. Ooh, I have 3 targets here. Svedna and Kate, you are each going to get attacked. 14 for Svedna.
Miss.
And 23 for Kate.
That left flank.
That left flank. You're gonna take 8 points of slashing damage and 12 points of necrotic damage. So this rider, he assails you from above. He swings down. Svedna, you're able to just as quickly as you can, pull up to block. I think for a moment you kind of had each other impaled, but as your team is just assailing him, you're able to dislodge. You're bleeding. And you're able to just do whatever you can to throw your weight into a sword blow to parry this attack. In doing so, he kind of like whips around at Kate, who's just kind of getting her bearings after being healed. And as tale as old as time, she goes to raise that shield and just not quick enough, and it catches her above the arm, kind of like slamming you with this necrotic, rippled black sword. It mashes into your armor, but just the weight of the sword, you can feel it through the steel. It chills it immediately. He's going to use a bonus action to disengage and kind of get some 10 feet from you. That brings us to Alistair.
So, Alistair is continuing to have this kind of spectral torn warrior kind of chase this headless horseman around the battlefield, kind of trying to strike him with this blade and missing terribly. But he is also going to reach up and grasp a hold of the chain that holds his holy symbol. And as he does so, he closes his eyes and pictures that fox that he saw earlier. And as he does so, a hazy, like almost like the snow is just kind of avoiding its outline. It appears next to him in the snow, staring ahead where he would be looking at this headless horseman. And I'm going to use Channel Divinity and mark him with Path to the Grave so that Anek's attention is on him. And he is now cursed if he is within 30 feet of me until the end of my next turn. And the next time that me or an ally hits this creature with an attack, he has vulnerability to all of that attack's damage. And then the curse ends.
Would you like to attack with your spiritual weapon?
I did already. It missed.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I specifically had it attack first,
Gotcha, first.
so that way it wouldn't eat the potential bonus, and that maybe Svedna can take advantage.
Both of our spiritual weapons are just like
like whack-a-mole.
It hit once. It's fine.
Or maybe he's just parrying them with his black blade.
I really feel like, as a testament to like, I mean, this is a powerful creature, and it's fighting 4 people effectively. I think in all, he probably is parrying the blows. You know, there is, as you fight, there's almost like no separation between rider and horse. They attack autonomously. So I wouldn't be surprised if, it's just like deftly pirouetting past these things on a fucking horse. The clash of swords and bone has kind of like descended into brutality. The shield wall has broken. There's dissent in the ranks. You see like guys like pulling, soldiers back, and it's just like the top half of the soldier and entrails spilling out from beneath. We see the captain carrying like the banner. He's bleeding profusely. A zombie charges. He drops the banner and uses it as a pike and lifts it high into the air. And he kind of collapses out of, loss of strength. A zombie colliding with him. He raises his sword in time. You see the blade emerge from the back. And kind of like, there is no blood. It's frozen, long frozen. And just like this ice cube of a body crushes him into this log, and he kind of like weakly tries to push it off. But it seems like the battle is coming to an end, for better or worse. It's the top of the round. But before we go to Svedna, I'm going to use the legendary reaction to use my Headless Hunt ability once more. I'm going to run my full movement And I'm gonna attack Light Tongue. I can move up to 50 feet away, and I have advantage on this attack roll.
Come at me, bastard.
So the first one, I mean, I rolled a 24. I rolled higher that time, 26.
Rolled a 24 to hit.
Yeah.
Guess it's not even worth putting up my shield then, huh?
It could be for thematic reasons. So this does normal weapon damage, which is only 6 points of slashing damage,
Okay.
but it does an increased amount of necrotic damage for 30 necrotic damage.
Jesus. I'm rapidly checking my character sheet right now to see if there's anything that mitigates this damage that I'm taking. But I do not see anything. I'm not high enough level of anything to do that. So sorry, 36 in total?
Correct.
I had 34 hit points. Lay tongue falls.
I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw, as
Oh,
this
God.
blow struck you cleanly on the side of the neck.
Oh, that's a really bad roll. A total of 10.
10 is what you needed. If you rolled anything less, you were decapitated.
Oh my God.
Any creature that cannot survive momentarily without a head is instantly killed.
that would have been me.
Fun fact, I need that.
Oh lordy.
Yeah, this creature slams into Lie Tongue. The rest of you see her body crumple. It's hard to say what has happened, but Lie Tongue, you immediately reach up to your throat as you land, and you feel the sticky warmth and iron smell of your blood escaping your body rapidly. And you pass out. Svedna.
Yeah, I mean, seeing that horrible strike, I think Svedna, who's also badly wounded, but obviously not as bad as Laytongue right now, she'll look to Kate and just say, if you can get to her, help her. And then she's going to hold up her left hand and she's going to try again to shoot these two blasts of, again, kind of crimson energy streaked with blue at Ewan. That is a dirty 20 and a natural 20.
Hey, that's what you need. That's what you need.
All right.
So on that
go
first one, he has vulnerability to all of the damage.
Okay, so let me roll the d10 for that, and then it's going to be double that because of the vulnerability. Thank you for reminding me about that, Jeremy. So that's 10 points of force on the first one. The second one is 10 points of force, which is max, plus 2. So it's a total of, it's 10 and 10, so 22 total points of force damage.
What does it look like?
Oh shit. Yeah, I think kind of as she takes a moment to focus, imagine she even kind of like kneels down in the snow to get a better angle with her hand, and she just shoots these lances of blood red energy streaked with indigo. The first one just punches a hole through this thing's armor and kind of pops out the back, searing through the air. And then the second one hits like just below it. And actually, I'm going to ask you something, Baron. I'm kind of curious because I was thinking about this. So, because this is something that Svedna is doing through her connection with Vazikil, could she try to like pry into this thing to see like if it has any kind of connection with who raised it, or is that too much? If it's too much, totally fine. I was just like, you know what? Why not?
You've ignored Vazikil for the greater part of this
I mean,
day,
the
last while.
Yeah, their relationship is not great after what happened in the Rotwood.
If you are willing to open yourself to the creature, I don't see why you couldn't do that.
Yeah, I think maybe as the sort of armored knight body starts to sag over the horse, I think Svedna kind of concentrates and just kind of whispers to herself, I know we haven't been on great terms lately. Please show me the headless one. And she's going to like force her will through this blast as much as she can, begging Vazikil to help her, since she knows this crystalline entity also is not fond of the headless one, considers it an enemy. Yeah, and she'll wait to see if her eyes roll back into her head and what she sees.
What the group sees is, you lance out with this indigo energy, and as it pierces through this light like beam, as it emerges from the chest of this creature, it immediately like crystallizes into ice of like indigo light. And like it's almost like I think it's the second strike, I would imagine. It's the killing strike that you're like, show me the
Right.
headless one, and these spikes emerge from the creature's chest from where you hit it. You don't stop. You just keep firing more and more, and they just keep. And while this is happening, you are not seeing what everyone else is seeing. You are in the shadowed lands of the Rotwood. The sky is awash in black clouds. It's the middle of the day and it is dark as night. I can't remember if you went to Greenhaven in your travels to Rotwood, but the largest town in the Rotwood, this community of scholars, there's a college here, the largest library in the north was here, and it is all just like kind of flashes of when it was green, and like your brain like synapse fires, and it's the corrupt, putrid, the overgrowth, this festering vegetation and fungi, like decrepit buildings, and a huge pit has been dug into the ground, revealing this large green crystal, covered in like this mottled black oily web that kind of like tethers it deep into the ground. And you feel this drain, you feel this weight pulling at your arm, and like everywhere where Vazikil has kind of like manifested on you is just heavy. And you feel sorrow and just pain, suffering, and remorse and regret, and all these just terrible emotions. And they're overwhelming. They're not yours, they're foreign. It's like a wave that you just let enter your body and cascade through you. There are legions of just undead, mottled corpses in battered armor in various states. We see old elvish, we see new Enlandish human in Osland, and like all these areas corrupted, and their corpses unified under a black banner. Standing at the head, we see an individual. I don't know if we ever seen him in the first campaign or the first series.
He was in like the after credit scene, at the end of the third session.
We see a knight. His skin, the color of a corpse. We see it, basically he looks like someone who's been like submerged in a tomb for 7 years. His eyes like sunken pits, and like as he turns, it's hard to tell if the light comes from the glisten in his eye or just like an unholy hellfire that exists behind them. He speaks in a language just profound and unheard of. It almost aches in your ears, but it is Finn. Or the corrupted version. Actually, I mean, he would be the same age as he was 7 years ago. He stopped aging.
Yeah, I think even though she's seeing all this and isn't aware of what's going on, I think Svedna just screams. It is this guttural, grief-stricken, agony-ridden animal sound. And unless there's more to the vision, I think she just collapses to her hands and knees in the snow.
I think to kind of just echo your scream, this last blast of indigo light that kind of morphs this huge chunk of ice crystal sticking out of the front explodes, and the husk kind of slumps over and on his horse. The horse itself collapses in the snow, and they both kind of like burn with this unholy hellfire as only bones remain. You're out of combat. What do you do?
First things first, Alistair is going to like raise his hand in the direction of Leitong as he's kind of like hurrying towards her, and once he gets within 30 feet, he is going to use Spare the Dying. Because I have the Circle of Mortality, one of the things that it does is it turns my Spare the Dying, it gives me the Spare Dying cantrip, allows me to cast it as a bonus action, and has a range of 30 feet. So that'll at least stabilize her. And then once I close with her, I will actually cast Cure Light Wounds as well. Not Cure Light Wounds. That's my age showing. Cure Wounds. Am I able to close with her?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think
perfect.
as you're doing that, Alistair, Kate will drop to her knees and put her Lightbringer, the mace, down and not be holding it for the first time in a very long time, so that her vision goes away. And then I will cast Mass Healing Word to bolster also Lightung and Svetna. Alistair, do you need any?
No.
No. I'll heal me, Svedna, Lightung, and whoever else is around who might need it, letting Zalir work his magic on everyone.
It is a handful of knights that have kind of made a semicircle around the group of you. I imagine, Alistair, you pull Lightung, or you are able to group up these knights kind of circling around you. It's almost like a scene of just like a last stand, despite the fact that the night has fallen, just this horde of undead kind of funneling down, and it seems like very bleak. And there is like the sound. It's hard to say if it's like a hallucination or what, but like a lute or something, just like the songs that were playing and like the drums that were playing at the Children of Dun's Fire Festival. Just like this weird ambient noise as coming down the path is the charge of the Knights Solar, led by Nicholas Garcia. They smash into the back of this undead horde, and we see kind of like flashes of carnage, just these knights just spearing through and breaking apart this wave of undead until they get to you, the faded remainder. With that, we're going to take a break. And we nailed it. It's fucking 8:30 on the dot. God damn. 2 clerics, you fucking lucky fucks.
Yeah. It's great because like we're getting into this and I'm looking at all my spells that do damage and I'm like necrotic. I'm like, that's probably not going to be worth anything against him. I was like, okay, utilitarian it is.
We had no resistance to necrotic.
You never know. Some undead do, some don't.
You're right. But
yeah, that was a blast. You ready for me to go hit break button?
Yeah, let's
do it.
Take 5. I think I smoke a cigarette after that one. So.
Hell yeah.
We'll meet back here in
10. I'm gonna go walk the dog.
It was good for us too, Baron, trust me.
We all gotta go walk the dog.
All right.
Meet back here in 10.
Perfect. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back from break. We're here with the second half of session 3 of this trilogy. So, yeah, I'm going to pass things back over to you, Baron.
We start with light returning to Lighttongue's eyes as Alistair kneels over top of her. You still have your hand kind of like clutched to your neck, and you pull it away, and it kind of is that like classic where you like smear the blood and it reveals that the wound is healed. You have a horrific scar that like probably ends probably a third of the way into your neck, where this weapon had just like cruelly cut into you. It burns with like a cold and dull heat, an ache you fear you may never be rid of.
Yeah, and I think her coming back to consciousness is actually quite violent. There's like a scream and she's clutching her throat and she sees you, Alistair. That's the first thing that she sees when she comes back is you over her. And in that moment, you can see the terror in her eyes of death, really, of the fact that she just about died right here, right now. And she just looks up at you, and I think then she realizes like she's not dead. Her neck is afire, and I think she just kind of sits up and just hugs you so hard and sobs into your shoulder.
You gaze into the tree line beyond. Well, it's not really a tree line. It's like the sparse trees that kind of buffer the side of the wall. And standing there among the low limbs of the fir trees is a cloaked individual. One light kind of gleaming from a reflected eye. 2 foxes at his feet. But as you stare, you blink and he's gone.
It's fine. Calm down. You're fine. I will not be building a cairn for you. Not yet.
I think, yeah, she is her young self right now in this moment. Like all pretense is gone. You hold in your arms a very terrified young girl.
All right. Let's stand up. Come on.
And there's no resistance. I think she just there's no resistance in her, which is a little off-putting maybe slightly, but she is leaning on you for both like emotional support and physical support at this moment.
And I think he's gonna move towards the face, the rock face of the temple, expecting that her people may have further healing medicine that they could help with, maybe even get her into the hot springs to help kind of ward this inner chill that she might be fighting. So, and he's kind of like looking around to see what became of Kate and Svedna during that combat.
I think as you two kind of like shuffle towards this temple face, Svedna, Kate, is there anything specific? I mean, I think a Knight Oscar specifically would probably be kind of like rushing over to you, Kate. My lady, are you well? Oh gosh, you're wounded. No, they're healed. It's just blood. Are you okay?
My wounds are deep and may not be reflected on my body, but there are those who have wounds far more grievous than me. Please tend to them. I will do my best to bring some small warmth and food to anyone here I'll find my way to whatever camp kitchen there is and try to lift the spirits. But thank you, Oscar.
I think he probably leaves you after helping you to your feet. He probably is. He leans down, taking the mace from the snow, puts it into your hand, and kind of curls your fingers over it again.
When I grab it, I'll be able to look up at him and see his light shining. Thank you, Oscar. And as I look around, I'll also see that there is a pinprick of bright light. And I can, as I walk towards it, I see that it is the head of my brother. I'll pick it up, wrap it in the cloak that Sister Egrid gave me, and look around for Alistair to ask him, the caremaker, to lay my brother to rest.
You kind of fall in step beside him as he escorts Lei Tung towards the temple. Svedna, is there anything you would like to do?
Yeah, I think Svedna has actually stayed kind of on her hands and knees in the snow while all this has been going on, just sort of staring, not really seeing the snow or smelling the decay of these, reanimated corpses or the blood in the air from the knights and her own wounds. There's no jokes, there's no insults, there's no forced smiles, there's no mask. As she is confronted with the fact that this man that she loved, that she thought one day would maybe ask her to be his wife, is the host of the Headless One. And I think she just kind of gets up after a few moments, not even looking at the others or where they're going. She'll actually walk over to the stump of the tree she cut down. She just sits down, pulls out this like old tattered to shit wineskin, opens it. There's like a whiff of this just wine that is turned horribly, and she just drinks. I think she just sits and drinks and just kind of stares at nothing, kind of ignoring the burning pain of the necrotic wounds that she suffered. Yeah, I think this is a mask off moment. This is the moment where just the ruin of who this person is on full display, and she just doesn't care in this moment, I don't think.
You feel someone sit down beside you on the stump. Oh dear lass, spoiled wine. It's no good. Sip on this. A short dwarven man, bushily mustache and eyebrows. He hands you a flask. It's unstoppered and it is strong. The dwarven fire wine or fire whiskey. Drink deep.
I think Svedna looks over to Tom, and I think he can see just like the shine of unshed tears in her eyes, but she just looks so tired. As she smiles at him, kind of gives him a little cheers with his own flask, and then just drinks deep of it. As she kind of moves it away and hands it back to him, she'll just say, again, kind of looking out into the canyon, I think I'm going to be leaving soon, Tom. Thank you for the wine, though, the fire, water, whatever.
Aye, my girl. I think I'll be leaving too.
Where are you going?
I don't know.
Do you want to come with me?
He kind of looks up at you, kind of furrows an eyebrow.
I could use a monster hunter because I have a terrible monster to hunt.
He kind of like the friendly, he like, taps your thigh, the top of your knee, I thought you'd never ask.
I think she does actually smile, and maybe there's like one or two tears that dribble out of her eyes. And she'll kind of hug him from the side, just kind of wrapping this burly arm around him. as she'll pick up her own wineskin and take another drink. The smile fades, I think, relatively quickly, but I think in this moment there is that camaraderie that she needed probably more than anything in this moment.
We kind of see the two of them sit there as the Knights Solar kind of clean up the mess. There is no cairn to be made. The bodies are rounded up and they're burned. This heavy smoke lingers in the air as it still snows lightly, and the precipitation kind of like holding it down. And this red sunlight is doing it whatever it can to kind of like blast through these clouds, but all the light that comes through is just this red bloody sun. The three of you make your way into the temple. Lightung, you are familiar with the layout of this temple, as you could do it blindfolded probably. You know, this is your childhood home. You escort Alistair through the columned cloisters. The architecture is the same as like the mausoleum where we seen Alistair in the previous sessions. It's these huge, columns of concrete, statues of humanoids in, various states, portrayed in marble, and statues of various, there are large pools of water that seem to be fed from pipes that just kind of like stick out of the side of the mountain. As you go deeper in, the architecture slightly shifts after a point. It's like the final chambers. Like we pass where Rodri would have snuck in, like that back storage area with the broken wall. And we get to a place where the masonry blocks are replaced with solid stone, large and just unfathomable in weight, smooth as if perfectly carved. Large steps lead down a spiral into a large circular chamber. There is a kind of like worked stone circle. It's a perfect circle that sits within this chamber. This is the first time you've been in here, Alistair, but there is a stark familiarity with this room and the room with the roots of trees from above that went into the pool. A chamber subterranean and hidden from the world deep underground. Lightung. Correct. You are led into this pool of water. There are like large steps on one side, so it's a little different than the one you had seen before. But Lightung kind of like goes in. The water illuminates at her presence, kind of like softly glowing and giving an ambient kind of like shimmer of light kind of rippling along the walls, giving the room an almost like extra dimensional feel. You are bathed in the rejuvenative waters of the hot springs. They are a ambient like 106. There's like a light steam in this room. A stark contrast to outside where it's like single digits Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I think Leitung, you can, Alistair, you feel not only the tension leave her body as we kind of enter this pool, but there is this audible sigh as she touches the water, and she will leave your grasp, and she just continues to walk into the water deeper and deeper, and then eventually, like, she just submerges. She is completely under the water. You can no longer see her. And she will remain there for well past the time that you think anybody could be underwater. She's not resurfacing. fully submerged and gone to your vision at this point.
After some time, I mean, Kate, you're there too. Are you entering the water? Or are you staying out?
I'm definitely staying out, trying to respect whatever other thing is going on, which
Well,
is
given that you see auras, you're the first to pick up on this. There's someone else in this room with you. A woman emerges from behind like an alcove, slightly hidden by shadow. She carries a bundle in her arms, a short dwarven woman.
what is your purpose here?
I could ask you the same. This is hallowed grounds. That symbol should not be here. She points to your holy symbol.
My symbol goes wherever it is called. And right now it is being called to help this child. I'll motion towards that. I presume that is why you are here as well. That is what we've all gathered here for.
She doesn't say anything, and I think this awkward silence is maybe where the scene shifts. We find ourselves probably a day and a half later. Wounds bandaged, ailments looked at. We find ourselves initially in the camp with the children of Dun. We just see Leitung. You are in the tent with Rodri, Volcona, as well as the babe. It is swaddled in this kind of manger. Well, Leitung, you most fucked things up.
Leitung is meek. She's staring at the ground, hands clasped on her lap, shoulders kind of hunched forward. She doesn't respond to that, or yes, your ma'am.
She comes over to you and kind of like puts your hand, or not your hand, your face in her hand to kind of take your eyes up to hers. Are you ready? For some time now you have lived in the lap of luxury, but it is now time for you to teach. For
I am ready.
a transition must take place, a passing of the torch. You say you are ready, but he who lays beneath asks a great deal. Are you willing to commit?
I am.
Good. Good. She like turns, and kind of like pulls some of the cloth away so we can see the baby's face. Just this fire burns in her sapphire eyes. I believe great things come the Leitung.
I think Leitung's hand, almost without like the subconscious, reaches forward to touch the babe's cheek. And there's such a look of awe on Leitung's face as she's looking at the babe. And also like a happiness, I think, like a contentment that this is right, this is proper, this is what I'm meant to do. I will teach this child and then give her my place.
Volcona reaches into the manger and picks up the baby, turns to you. You stand, and she hands the swaddled child over to you. It is time.
She just nods and holds the baby firmly but gently.
The three of you walk out of the tent, the rhythmic drums of the song playing, this huge fire going once more. And we just see like the silhouettes of the three of you against this backdrop. We go down the mountain. Good night, buddy. We go back down the mountain, and there is a detour. We are in a mausoleum. Alistair, you're kind of cleaning up your effects, picking up the things as you are being kicked out of here.
Okay. I think what we actually see him packing up are the last few, like, stone carving tools and things like that that he would use to actually build a cairn. Because he recently, everything else has been packed except for those, and that's because he had to build the cairn for Kate's brother's head. That's the
last one we see in the line of the ones you
the last
made.
addition that he was able to accomplish while he was here. And he puts the last chisel or the last hammer or whatever kind of into the leather flap that then kind of rolls, and then he kind of affixes it to his pack and then kind of just stops for a second and kind of looks up at the vaulted ceilings and the windows that are half frames, and tries to picture in his mind what it might have been had he gotten the stone that he had asked for and was able to actually restore this place the way that he had hoped. And then just kind of, very well then.
Before you leave, you hear, "This way, Miss Fedna. I think he's in here. He usually stays here." A young man, close-cropped hair. You see the nicks from his attempt of shaving still evident on his face. Rotwood escorts Fedna in.
Thank you, Rotwood.
Both brushing the snow from their cloaks. Evening, Alistair.
Good evening. It's good to see you again, one last time.
One last time. Are you leaving?
Oh, it's certainly not a choice of mine, but it seems as though that is what destiny has in store. I am no longer allowed to stay here and drift.
Oh. I promise, Alistair, I've done nothing but preach your good name, and I've tried, and
kind of like puts a hand up to kind of try to, stave off his stammering. I know it is not your doing. They need the stone, I'm sure.
The stone. You could come stay in town, Alistair, please. You don't have to go.
And this is where a follower of a neck belongs here in Drift, and if this place must go, then so shall I.
He fights tears in his eyes, just kind of like trying to remain stalwart.
Besides, my real job here has already been long finished. You no longer need my guidance. You have found a new path.
He kind of looks down, almost dejectedly, but not letting the shame fully register. He stands there for a second, and then he embraces you in a hug.
And he hugs him back. He says, who knows, someday you may find your feet carry you back towards a neck. And if that is the case, then you being here to rebuild this place Will be a good thing.
You know, I promise you I listened when you were teaching me. I haven't turned my back on the totems. I know the importance. I just think there's more to compare there. They're not different, as they say in the Iron Rings. They're not so different, Anek and Omnia. They both shepherd our spirits to the afterlife. There's something there.
Perhaps you could be right. There are many words for the same thing in different languages in different parts of the world. Maybe the gods aren't so different.
He turns to you, Svedna. Sorry, I brought you here, and I took over the conversation. I'll leave you two to it.
It's completely fine, Renowad. Get down the mountain safely, yeah?
He nods and backs out the door.
I think Svedna watches him go, and she looks back to Alistair. He wouldn't stop talking about you the whole way up the mountain, you know.
He likes to talk. Was there
Do you think
something
that you're a
needed?
good person, Alistair?
Oh, I think that is a difficult question to answer.
It's a simple yes or no answer.
In my experience, that's not quite the case. I have seen good people do terrible things, and occasionally terrible people that do good things.
Lady Isadora accused me of beating around the bush. Yes or no? What do you
I
think?
hope that when my time comes, that Anak will weigh the deeds that I have done in favor of being a good soul. Yes. I strive for that destination.
You do. The boy is proof of that. And I know you claim that you have maybe become a little more bitter, a little less kind in the years since I last saw you, apart from occasionally running into you in Drift. But I never forgot the events that happened in the Rotwood. They are etched into my mind like carvings in the stone. And she'll kind of look up towards the wooden holy symbol that Alistair carved and put on the wall. I remember Shaunaven dragging me around like a parcel to be delivered. I remember Guthrum trying to use me against Aranthea so the loggers could cut down her trees. And I remember you. I remember you putting your hand on my shoulder after I just learned that my father had been involved with your healing potion smuggling, and you said that my father was a good man. And then, not so long after, when we were fighting Halasair and he impaled me through the stomach on a crystalline spike, Aranthea was injured as well. Someone that you knew much longer than me. Who was I to you? The daughter of a man who you once worked with, who didn't care enough about you to even mention you to me? But you didn't heal Aranthea. You healed me. I'm not saying that was the good choice or the righteous choice, but it was the choice you made. And I appreciate that. I think you try to be a good person, just like my father tried to be a good person, just like I try to be a good person. But you are wasted here. You have to leave anyway. Come with me.
Where is it that you head, Svedna?
West.
West?
The Rotwood. Oh, yes. If it makes you feel any better, Tom will be with us. He's a monster hunter. He's a local. You probably know him.
You do understand what lies in the west between us and the Rotwood.
Yeah, I think you see the smile that was kind of growing on her face fall, and she looks at you and she says, I know. I also know that no matter how many people I help, no matter how many monsters I kill, no matter how many cultist plots I interrupt, that lingering ember of guilt in my stomach for what happened 7 years ago doesn't get any smaller. And I know now where I have to go. I know what the Headless One looks like. I saw it in Ewan's dying moments. I saw him. And even though I was compelled by ancient magics to pick up this, and she kind of gestures to the sword, this mistake, this Greshka, when I see what has happened to places like Drift, all the other villages and towns that I visited over the last 6 years, when I see what the Headless One has done, it doesn't make me feel any better to know that it wasn't my choice. So, come with me. You can preach the word of your Anek too along the way. We'll probably have to stop at a few villages and towns. Maybe you could find some converts. We'll probably need more help too. Come with me.
For the last bit of her talking to him, his gaze kind of turned back to the carved wooden holy symbol again on the altar as well. Kind of searching for a sign, an impulse, direction, guidance from Anek. And I think maybe like a particular drift of snow that's kind of blown in or something just happens to swirl in a way that somewhat mimics a fox, in the way that it moves across the ground. And Alistair kind of sighs, realizing that this is a fool's errand. This is a suicide mission. But it seems to be the right course forward. And he nods. Very well, then. I suppose you haven't grown tired of my grumbling yet.
Never, Alistair. And I will try to be a little more tactful, maybe, I know sometimes...
It would make the journey a lot less.
I know,
yes,
sometimes the jokes and
true.
the insults, it can be a bit much. It's hard, it's hard. And to show you that I mean that, I feel like I owe you a little bit of an apology. I shouldn't have brought up Rake when we were in Lady Isidora's mansion. That was crossing a line, and I am sorry for that. I was just on edge, but that's no excuse. I know you have history with the man. Guthrum basically told me everything. The dwarf just can't keep his mouth shut, apparently.
There are a lot of things in my past that haunt me. And
I know the feeling.
While they are not words to describe it, it does hang on my soul. However, I try not to dwell on them too heavily. They tend to open a hole in your soul if you hold on to them. They're like a hot coal in that way. The longer you hold on to these memories, these mistakes, as you put it, the more it eats away of you. Sometimes the best thing to do with a hot coal is simply just to set it down.
I don't know if I can, Alistair. On the good days, I say that I'm doing what I do because it's just, it's righteous. But on the bad days, I guess I have some forlorn hope that it will make me feel better, but it won't let me rest. Why do you think I look like this? And she kind of gestures to, like, the scars and just how exhausted she looks in general. I mean, I look like I bathe in a bathtub full of knives every night. It's just, I'll try, but...
I will say, I think you would have, whether by choice or not, you have been cleaned. And
yeah, no, I was actually just gonna say, I think she, at the very least, she washed like the grime off of her. I mean, she still looks scarred as fuck, but yeah, not nearly as bad.
For the most part, your like apparel would have
Mhm.
been either replaced or repaired. I think it's probably not like a white cloak of the Night Solar, but a newer, like pale gray cloak to kind of conceal you. You have been outfitted.
Right. Imagine Tom probably insisted. He was like, "Look, you need to. If we're gonna be traveling together, you need to get out of this tattered ass shit you're wearing." But yeah, she'll kind of nod to Alistair and say, "Well, maybe you can teach me how to put down this burden when we travel together. I'm planning on leaving probably at dawn tomorrow. There's one small task that I have to finish, but I have a sneaking suspicion that I don't know if Lady Isadora will have something to say about all this. I don't. It worries me that the king is interested in crystalline weaponry. That's very disturbing. It sounds, just kind of lean in a little, it sounds very reminiscent of what Halasair was doing, which is not good, but
It certainly did not end well.
no, definitely not. I think she looks at you for a moment and you can see there's something on the tip of her tongue. There's something she's not quite saying. I mean, even with your, passive insight, whatever that might be, there's something else, but I think she doesn't say it. And she says, I appreciate it, Alistair. And you know what? Since we're going to be making the trek west, find a map. You can pick the first village or town where we'll stop to resupply and maybe lend aid. You could preach to some people. I don't know. Whatever makes you happy.
What would make me happy is to get out of this cold weather. I've had my fill.
I was going to say, your building is like, I mean, the estate that Lady Isadora is living in is half finished. This is like, she just kind of like gestures like the holes in the roof. This is like barely a building. Anyway, all right, I'll see you in the morning. She's going to turn, unless he has anything else, and walk out.
We are now in the opulent, although well-heated chambers of Lady Isadora. Kate, you sit on one of these cushioned chairs before her. She is flanked by her retinue of the same half dozen faces that you've seen the last time you were here. Lady Laurel Reinhardt, there is the Lord Consort. You also see Melanie Albrecht of the church. You know, my dear, with your condition, you really should consider a more clerical office. Fighting zombies in the dark, just... Well, it doesn't suit you, dear.
You know, after that battle, Kate thinks back to it and has flashbacks of just getting hit relentlessly, over and over, falling in the battle before she witnessed her brother tear off his head, nearly and being restored by Alistair, nearly falling in the subsequent battle with her brother, again being restored by Alistair. And she thinks back to when she had the most success with Zalir, and it was when she was serving others. And she will say to Lady Isadora, My lady, I have come to learn that there is great strength in supporting others and bringing aid where you can. The light of Zalir is best shed amongst those that are not allowed easy access to it, and I will find those nooks and crannies to bring the light to those that need it most.
She smiles. Courageous or foolhardy. Depends on how you look at it, I suppose. Where will you go? If these nooks and crannies are where you seek a large temple of Zalir, certainly cast too many strong lights to felicitate that.
I will be a lighthouse. I will remain here, ensure that your funds provide a sufficiently adequate and open church of Zalir, one that has no hidden corners, so that all are welcomed here, and I will rely upon the strength to keep back the tide of undead.
Well, in order to find such a position within the temple, you will need support, my dear. She signs some documentation, hands it to the Lord Consort. He looks it over, kind of smirks, rolls his eyes, and walks out the door. And as proper thanks for what you have done for us, you have it in me.
I thank you, Lady Isadora. I know that together we can create a beneficial and respectful agreement upon what the church is doing here.
I have just sent my dear husband with a check for the coffers of the temple. A donation.
It will be well received. Thank you so much, lady.
And if you don't have anything else to say, we see like the doors close and the Lord Consort kind of like hopping down the hallway on the balls of his toes, kind of like tucking this into his shirt.
Something that Kate does is, after getting the seal of approval from Lady Isadora, she'll go to the builders and the architects of the church and ensure that where previously expense was not spared on luxury items with velvet um, uh, pews and just gilded adornments everywhere. She'll instead ensure that the kitchen is made bigger, the stores larger, so that they can feed more people, house more hungry, and take care of more of those in need. And also make sure that there is fortifications within the church, so that we, if needed, can use it as a last vestige to hold back any undead incursion.
We see the Lord Consort. He approaches like the general contractor, kind of in charge of this project. They're working on building the temple, and he hands him, this parchment. He like looks up. More tunnels? We already had to dig into the mountain. Why do you want us to tunnel over to the mansion now? And it kind of is left on a question as it zooms out. And we see like the dwarf miners who were previously out of work kind of like shuffling into this fissure in the ground where they seem to be like tunneling beneath the town towards the temple. And finally, we find ourselves within the tavern once more, where we had spent a few nights previous. The Rusted Miner. We all sit around. Oh, I say we all. I imagine at least Tom, Svedna, and Alistair sit around this table. Kate, you're probably busy feeding the poor, tending the hungry. Lightung, I think you are preoccupied with your responsibilities. I mean, you may have been able to sneak away if you so choose to be here at this moment.
Nope, not at this point. Nope.
Then we see the three of you kind of like bantering. I think perhaps even Omar, the priest, is here, kind of drinking with you all, as he's kind of seen as someone who kind of is like a boisterous eater. He likes to peruse with the townsfolk at the inn when he can. He's sits and drinks, and he's like, "I'll be back. Let me get me some more wine." You know, and he stands up and leaves. And as
That's
he
definitely
leaves,
what you're lacking.
his face red, his drunkenness. And as he leaves, there is kind of like a heavy din in the bar right now, like some joyous attitude, you know. And you guys probably sit in the back trying to avoid some of the attention. When a cloaked figure kind of enters and approaches you. At first, it's hard to see her face, but emerald eyes glow from beneath her cowl, non-magically, of course. A soft, radiant beauty just naturally beneath the cowl. She's not done up. She's not in any finery. But Lady Isadora has snuck from her abode and has been treated with you here. I will talk quickly because I do not have much time. I do not like being caught out here if I can be avoided. But we must speak, and I don't think you would come to me, nor do I really think it would be appropriate to see you in my company.
I'm so glad that I saved your life from bandits a year and a half ago. It's really been just such a wonderful investment for me. Anyway, continue.
Listen, save the bitterness, Svedna. You
Hmm.
can hate me all you like. It doesn't matter.
I don't
come
hate
to you. I come to you out of gratitude.
Oh,
She looks to the two of you specifically, Tom as well, but thank you for saving Drift. I am loosely aware of what happened in the field, but I know that it is because of your hands that much of the horde was diverted, and you were the witness to much of the death that was the repercussion. I am not thoughtless. Purses have been deposited in our coffers with your name on them that we can be picked up at either the barracks or the town hall. You will find that sufficient gold to supply you on your endeavors to be within. Which really brings me to the heart of the matter that I'm really here for. I know you're going west. I knew it the last time I saw you that it was a matter of time. And I can only stress to you the warning that I gave you before comes from the lips of the king, not mine. He has great interest in whatever crystal weaponry you can find, and in truth I knew not what he meant, but it seems as reports from the field, as well as what I have seen, can testify that you wield a sword of fire and crystal. I am by no means suggesting you turn yourself into the king, because I can only implore you that suffering and torture would follow. But information regarding such weaponries is highly coveted by Alfand. So much so that he would send me into the mountains for any rumor or scrap of information he could find in regards to it. Now, I had mentioned a certain noble that had power in the Rotwood just shy of a decade ago. I have a close friend in the courts of King Alfand who is his elder sister, and she claims to have heard through him of some large crystalline entity that exists beneath a town known as Greenhaven. Now, I doubt that town remains, at least in the state that we previously knew of it. I don't know what lives there. I don't know what resides there, but I do know that whatever the king's looking for is there. Like I said, I'm sure you have reason enough to go there already, but let me simply incentivize you a little further. Whatever information you can bring back to me about whatever exists beneath the ground there, I will pay you handsomely for, not to mention any rewards guaranteed by the crown. I'm sure you resent me staying here and doing what I can to eke out a meager corner of comfort in the hellscape of a mountain range that I am forced to reside in. I don't want to stay here any longer than you'd have me. So please do us both a favor and help me help you.
That was a lot. I appreciate you making the effort to come out here. I can't speak for the other two and just kind of look to Tom and Alistair. I won't be sharing any information about what we find in the Rotwood with anyone. What they decide to do is up to them. I hope that these reports that you heard from the field have perhaps convinced you to put those damned expansions on hold and focus on protecting Drift. And yourself, since it seems like you might be staying here for a little longer than you might want.
Well, between you and me, a certain abduction of a child by potentially cult-aligned individuals has been enough to provoke the Knights Solar. They're detaching 3 more regiments of soldiers, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Children of Dun were purged from the side of the mountain come June of next year.
I think Sven is going to look over to Alistair to see how he reacts to that.
Yeah, he's kind of grabbing onto the handle of his tankard a little tighter than maybe he should. And he's probably more tankards in than he would normally be if he was expecting to be in the company of nobility in particular. And so he kind of snaps a little bit at her. You know, if you wanted this place to not be such a hellscape, then perhaps, maybe, you should run it better than one. If you want this place to be somewhere that people wish to live, then maybe you should not be such a terrible person. I have been kicked out of my home, and in the same breath you turn and thank me for saving this town. You dismantle the house of worship that I was trying to restore so that you can use the stones to expand your palace. You talk about these deeds that you need done, these favors that you need Svetna and myself and Tom to accomplish for you. For what? Coin? Because that is the only thing that you have anything in plenty of? Where is your mercy? Where is your passion? Why cling so hard to this life that you have because it is filled with nothing more than comfort? This world is miserable and dark. It is filled with dark deeds at every turn. Shame on you for choosing to conduct dark deeds on purpose here, in one of the last places that is still standing against that darkness. Shame on you.
You're quite done.
Yes, my sermon is complete.
It was a good one.
Very well. At the end of the day, hold on to those lofty ideals, that hope that you have buried deep in your heart. Your totem gods, they believe in fate, a weaver, that our actions are preordained. Well, what will be, will be.
Indeed. I just hope that
And-
you're here to see it.
You look up to say this, and she's gone, and quickly taking her place is Omar, who's got like an armful of mulled wine. You can see the steam coming off of one for you, one for you, one for you, and two for me.
I think we might should leave a little sooner rather than later, yeah?
I've lost my appetite. And he kind of
Me
like
too.
pushes the mug back away from himself.
I have one thing to do very quickly, but otherwise, gather yourselves at the gate leading out of the rift, and we'll leave. I don't think we can waste any more time. And I think she will. Svedna's going to get up, kind of go to. I imagine she probably has like a room here just to kind of serve as sort of like a gathering point for everybody, since we're going to be leaving soon. And she goes to this room. She pulls out a letter from like a dresser that she had written up. And it's in an envelope. She kind of looks at it for a moment. She flips it over to the side and just says Catherine Martindale on it. And then she's going to fly over to the Church of the Iron Ring. Maybe ask around just to find Kate's chambers. And she will leave this letter, kind of tuck it under Kate's door, essentially. And just so you know, so basically, the contents of the letter are basically a description of everything that's happened since the Rotwood incident 7 years ago until now. However, the only names that are mentioned in any of this are Svedna's, Selix, her father, and Halaser Blackthorn. I don't think no one else is named. But there's the admittance of the fact that she was magically compelled to pull out the sword that potentially released the Headless One. She talks about Finn. She does not mention that Finnabar is the Headless One. I think she leaves that out. She talks about kind of what happened, what she did after, her and Kate parted ways. And I think it ends with this sentence. She just says, "Be safe, Kate." And I think there's like a section where it looks like she's kind of scribbled something out and rewritten it, and then scribbled it out and rewritten it, and says, "I am proud that you found your strength, but I lament the young woman you used to be." And that's it.
As Kate is, woken up from sleeping basically on her desk in the early dawn, she will go and see that that note has been slipped underneath her door, and she'll instantly, recognizing the handwriting, will go to read it. And I think she will consider whether or not once she has this information and has retained it, she will consider whether or not Svedna would want her to keep any evidence of this, or if it should be something that maybe needs to be cleansed. So once Kate reads this, she will bring it over to the fire and throw the letter in the fire. And whenever you begin your travels the next morning, you'll see just a little beam of light that opens from what seems like constant cloud cover. You'll know just a little proof of approval from Zalir. Yeah, or ink, bro. I was thinking about that too.
Svedna totally knew to get the special ink. She knows Braille. She wrote it in
Svedna's
Braille.
writing in Braille.
Totally went through my
Svedna's
head.
not learned, but she's learned.
Like, I'm gonna leave her a letter. Fucking, we just see Kate looking at it. It's like, the fuck is this?
Illusory script.
It's
Something.
it's that meme. It's like, I can't read this.
I know what you meant.
I have a feeling I know what this says. As you destroy the evidence, we see, I think probably, I mean, it's a little early, but I think this is probably the final scene we see as Kate stands in front of the fireplace within the constructed temple of Zalir. I mean, it's still within days of what has happened. So there's large portions that are open, but like the complete portion, we see that Catherine has chambers within. And kind of like heavy over the mantle is just inlaid in the stone a band of iron, black as pitch. And we kind of pan out into the continuing snow, and this like blood red sun over top the clouds. Sunlight fighting its way through. Mounted on horses, attained quickly, we see Alistair, Tom, and Svedna leave the southern gate of Drift. And as they kind of like head down the mountain, we see situated above the town, higher up on the mountain, just that burning pyre and the smoke that's kind of like aiding, or not aiding, like adding to the black clouds of snow and the sun behind it. And that will conclude the second Ards song, Drift.
So good.
So good. Holy shit. Oh my god.
Thank you, everybody, for participating.
Now I need a cigarette.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully y'all had a good time. I had a good time.
Absolutely.
I don't have anything to say. Do you guys have any closing things for your characters or anything like that you would like to say as the credits begin to roll? Anything we would see?
I think we see maybe kind of as the trio are leaving Drift, I think there's just this quiet moment where Svedna kind of looks west and just quietly whispers, "I'm coming, Finn. I'm coming." And then that'll probably be like her last little moment before credits.
Do we see Light Tongue at all?
I mean, yeah, Lai Tongue is taking care of a babe, raising it, teaching it, fighting off the Knights of Zalir when they have to. That kind of.
There is
Yeah.
definitely some points in Light Tongue's future where if you ever need it, you will have the help from Kate. And I think you will find it when you don't need it, whether it's a package of food left in a location where you're known to pass through, or, even if it's just a bit of sun rays warming you when you need it.
I think in true fashion, we see, the group of the three of you entering what would have colloquially been known as the Rotwood to some degree, and maybe like a shadowy figure emerges. What the fuck are you doing here? An elfish figure full of rage and malice. And that's where we'll cut.
Perfect.
All right, everyone. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much. We'll do some outros and we'll finish her off with a bow. I've been Baron. I've been your Dungeon Master. This is my setting, the Ardlands. It goes by many names. It interests you in the internet, shoot me a message on Facebook. I'll tell you about it. Or don't, because that's cool too. I have had the absolute pleasure of working with Jeremy on bringing this project to life, as well as my last project, and hopefully more to come, alongside my terrific friends here who have supported me doing this. So thank you all, Jeremy, Jason, Karen, Philip. Wouldn't have picked anyone else. But Jason, go ahead and start us off on some outros. We'll do the same loop that we do, and we'll get out of here.
Sounds good. Yeah, Baron, of course, excellent job. Thank you so much for having me back. So great to be playing with all of you guys. And Jeremy, of course, thank you so much for hosting. Please, check out the other stuff he has on his channel. There's just so much good content. Yeah, this was honestly, this was great. You know what I mean? This is such a what an interesting what an interesting just sequence of events that built up to this. It's so interesting to see how things kind of spiral and snowball. Yeah, I'm very interested to see kind of what the future of the Ardlands looks like as we will potentially revisit this setting at some point. Who knows? Fingers crossed. But I've been Jason Osorio playing Sveta Nazif, who is off to kill the man she loves, because apparently that's a theme here. We're killing brothers, we're killing lovers, we'll be killing mothers next time. Who knows?
Fiercely writes down notes. Kill mothers.
Hi everyone, I'm Karen. This has been such a fun ride. It's always bittersweet when these come to an end, but I am looking forward to the next one and cannot wait for that to happen. Already got some ideas of characters in my head. We'll see how that goes. Wow, yeah, this game's always just, I never really know where they're gonna go, but they always get there and they just they're so good. And I want to thank you, Baron, for putting this out. Thank you for inviting us to your table. Thank you, Jeremy, for making this happen here. Um, Cannot wait for the next one. Love you guys.
Hello. Thanks for letting me play Kate. This was really fun. I love playing with you all. Baron, you create epically terrifying scenes and really incorporate all of the characters into a 3-shot, which is so difficult to do. So just great work, man. It's really fun. Thank you. Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you, Philip. Yeah, like I said before, I really, really dig this setting, Baron, a lot. You know, you get a good showcase of it in the documents that you kind of like shared with us and in the first trilogy. But seeing a second story told in the same setting kind of shows a good like swath of what the setting's about. It kind of establishes the cornerstones and the things that are important. And again, it reminds me so much of like the Hyboria of Conan, or like Skyrim, or even like The Witcher, where things are just, it's not just vanilla fantasy. It's very like hardcore, very dark, very gritty, but very grounded in a lot of the ways that it's supernatural. Like a lot of the magic has like deep roots and history and connections to things and like the reason for being. And I really, really like seeing that in a setting. It's a lot of fun, especially being a caster type of any kind. So yeah, I've really, really like playing Alistair. He's a fun concept that feels like he's materialized well, and I'm very pleased with how he has come kind of into being in this world, and obviously playing with these people. You know, are some of my favorite people to play with. So I'm super, super happy that we got to do this again. And thank you, Baron, for doing this and for asking to host it here on the channel and show us your homebrew world and your talents as a DM. I appreciate it, man. So thank you.
It's high praise. Hard to absorb that. I'll take it, but thank you.
Very welcome.
Yeah, it's a work of love, really.
That's what it has to be. Make it good.
I am passionate about it. I'm glad my passion is able to be bridged to and hopefully reach you all in what stories I'm trying to tell. And I've got at least one more. So, and realistically, I do plan on running that around the next time, or around this time next year. So, I mean, we've got time, but check me out in a year. And with any luck, maybe we'll see an increase in frequency in some of these as I expand further in the brutal land that the Ards call home. But with that, we can sign off. Jeremy, take us home.
Absolutely, man. My pleasure. Again, thank you everybody who happened to join in and watch us along the journey of this trilogy. This has been an Erasmus Expeditions Presents. If you like what you see here on the channel, make sure to do all the stuff that the algorithm likes. Hit the like button, subscribe, share the link around with your friends, talk about it. Stick around the channel. There's a ton more content, both prior to this as well as coming up. We don't plan on slowing down anytime soon. So, what else? Oh, remember, kindness is a free action. It costs you absolutely nothing to be kind to other people, and we need that in the world right now. So, truly, go out there, be nice. All right. Until next time, may your dice roll high, and your snacks always be within reach.